The smell of fresh cow manure in the countryside again for the first time since I made that video with my grandfather. Place is completely changed because we spent like the last 3-4 days renovating the place, throwing out all the old stuff. It's gonna be a fantastic week with me and my grandmother. A lot of mold from place not being cleaned for a while. So the moldy smell is now replaced with the smell of fresh paint.
이거 붙여서 할머니 먹으라고.
Alright, so my grandmother is gonna grill up some fish. A little bit of chili powder makes it all look better. And we're gonna have some fresh apples.
나는 긁어 먹을 자리 수저로.
The fruits here in Korea taste so much better. We're gonna switch out the old flooring here with Korean style vinyls. Found a bit of humidity and mold on the floor. So we're drying it out before putting the new vinyl on. Now working on the floors. So much easier and cheaper to work with than laminate. It's a pretty durable rubber though. And it's got the wood grain texture. So pretty easy to work with. You just score it to create the trim on the edge. Then you just sort of cut the corner to create an edge. Baseboards are optional. It's looking quite good actually.
아, 거기를 좀 내려요.
It's a bit eerie because there's nobody in this big market. Everyone's sort of afraid of coming to these public places because they think they'll catch the virus. But because everyone's afraid, nobody's here and there's less chance. Doesn't seem like there's any issues with instant noodles and water running out. Plenty of toilet paper. They actually got a sale running on these toilet papers. So everything is orderly, calm, just nobody here. But there's really no issues of panic buying in Korea from any of the reports. It's just there's a shortage of masks, but they're figuring that out too by rationing it. Korea is one of the biggest manufacturers of masks as well, so eventually it'll stabilize once people are trying to arbitrage prices on it. Don't buy thousands of them to resell.
괜찮아.
The food court and having some sushi.
드셔봐.
It's about $10 for that. We also got some udon. That's 탕수육. And this is blood sausage. That's for my mother.
정말 이거 머리 다 아프다.
Never had the sweet and sour pork like this, but it sort of tastes like chicken nuggets. So now that we've cleaned up the balcony, we're gonna install the blinds. They arrived by online shopping in just 3 days. Finish putting up the blinds. They look fantastic, but it's quite a simple job. I like the way it works. Basically, you have 2 layers and when they overlap, they completely block the sun. But you can adjust this as needed or just lift it up completely. Only issue is that we didn't have clearance up there by the little cement area, so created a makeshift, and now he's creating a makeshift gutter out of some of the leftover flooring that we had, as the water tends to spill over onto the floor there. I guess whatever gets the job done. So I'm taking a walk with my grandmother, and I really like this time of the day. The sunset is golden, it glistening up against the apartment building's windows, and you see that golden gleam up on it. There's something very romantic about this. Being in the countryside, everything is a lot more serene, peaceful. The air is really fresh, but I'm not gonna lie, there's a hint of cow manure smell in the air, but it's all natural. Just a tad hint, so it gives it that smoky scent. Oh man, I just can't get enough of this sunset. 할머니 가. There's a bunch of empty houses, and my grandmother was saying she was about to buy one of these, but these people aren't selling them because their family members want to come up here and eventually live in them. But I really like the vibe of this neighborhood too. 할머니, 이거 무슨 나무야?
이거?
어.
모르겠다. 무슨 나무인가? 뭔 나무가 누구지?
You don't really know what trees these are, but I'm sure it's gonna look beautiful soon. It's the beginning of March, and now the weather is really warming up, and in a few weeks it'll be cherry blossom season. So I'm really looking forward to that time and being able to experience it. There's that iconic red sunset, the land of the morning calm. My grandmother was telling me that my grandpa used to sit here by the graves, and he would tell her to go pick the persimmons off those trees. And I'm like, how can you pick the persimmons off of somebody else's tree? And she's like, it's the way of the land here. He's saying the sunset is setting between the mountains. But I do remember walking around with her one other time, and she was picking up corn. And the way of the land here is sort of that there's just an abundance of produce that the farmers, they don't pick it when it's too ripe. So she says you can tell because the birds are eating away at the ripe fruit that the farmers don't mind if you pick those up before the birds eat them up. I wonder if it only flies because she's old, but she says anyone can do that around here. And she would just have so much that she would box them up and send them to my aunt and uncle in the city. So plenty of food to go around here, and unlike some other places, I mean, there's a variety of produce to be had out here too, so I think that's what's nice. Today, the outside patio. potatoes. Laid down some leftover flooring here in the veranda. And it looks fantastic with the new coat of paint. This is the second outside patio. Lots of patios in Korean apartments because it creates that air pocket to keep the interior cool. This one already has tile floors, so we're not gonna do anything to it. Instead, we laid down some rubber so my grandmother doesn't slip and fall. We didn't have enough paint to cover all the walls, but I created this little pattern here and paid particular attention to the places that have a lot of stains, and it looks better than before. We've exhausted the whole can of paint. Today we are going to go to a truly local farmers market that my grandmother says all these farmers from around here in the countryside bring their produce to sell. It is sponsored by the farmers co-op here. And right now it's the winter, so my grandma says there isn't much going on. But during the summer, this is where they actually distribute the watermelons. Local foods, 고문의 장터, literally means ants marketplace. Okay, it's a bit more modern than I expected. But what do you expect? This is Korea. Even the farmer's market looks modern.
내 아빠 보고도 마트 가서 사지 말라고 했어. 여기서는 바로 갖다 나는 먹어버렸대서 여기치가 낫더라고.
My grandmother's telling me that it's super fresh, and it's true because they just picked these yesterday. I can already smell it. The kilo of these strawberries are about $5. Sweet potato section. They have so many varieties. I really like Korean sweet potatoes. They're super sweet and nutty. But my grandma thinks something's off, but we're gonna risk it anyways. It's only $3. My grandmother's telling me that after eating these fresh strawberries here, she can't eat the ones that my parents get for her from Seoul. Look at this delicious strawberry. Apparently they don't really use pesticides on these, so eat it straight out. Once you've had Korean strawberries, and I'll also say Japanese strawberries, you really can't go back to any other strawberry. Every other strawberry compared to Korean strawberries tastes sour and bland and watery. This is just the pure essence of fructose and strawberry scent.
싱싱하지? 그럼 이런 싱싱해요.
So the sweet potatoes are really red when we wash off the dirt. 많이 맛있을 것 같아?
그냥 먹어봐야 맛있어. 알지? 빨간해서 좋긴 하구만.
Grandma keeping it real.
이게 방고구마야, 방고구마.
The sweet potatoes are finished. Oh, look at that smoke. Oh, that nutty sweet scent. Sweet potatoes are best complemented with kimchi. Why? It is a perfect complement. Sweet and nutty. Sour and spicy. Completely different flavors. Completely different temperatures. Cold, hot. Pictures don't do this justice. I don't think you can see how golden yellow this is. So Japanese sweet potatoes are super popular in Thailand. I think like one costs like $5. They sell the Korean ones in Thailand for a little less. I think it's like 3 for 1. But we got 1 kilo for like $2.50. I'm gonna have so many sweet potatoes while I'm here in Korea. And I'm gonna be, but I don't know if I'll get sick of it ever. I think I'll just keep eating this. I'll just go on a sweet potato diet. 할머니 맛있어?
맛있다.
맛있지? In Korean, they call these literally honey potatoes. Now time to eat it with kimchi. Switch the belt. Wiping everything down. Super dirty. This is our third round. Door is done. These sheets cost $2 each, and we use 4 of them to cover the door. That's quite an upgrade. So I'm here to see my uncle at the hospital, but they're not letting us in through the main entrance because of the coronavirus. So I finally got to see my uncle again, and he's really not in a physically good condition. I can't even even compared to my grandfather in his final days, my uncle looks even worse. But the weather is getting a lot warmer though, especially because this is the south. I definitely have a newfound appreciation for just life.
이 예레미야가 고백했던 이 수치를 장차 경험할 수 있게.
Sunny day. Me, my grandma, and my mother, we're just taking a walk around this beautiful little area. It's just about 100 meters outside of the apartment complex, which is right there, and different path today than the one that me and my grandmother took. Ah, so amazing. I love the countryside. Really liking these plots of land right here. Old farmhouses, growing different kinds of vegetables out here. Wow. So when you walk around with the women, they know how to categorize what's edible and not out of all this. It looks like weeds to me. But apparently this is soup. This is what we make mochi out of.
그래 맛있어. 이거 봐 어머니 손톱으로 켜도 이렇게 커. 된장에다.
가랑기도 좋고.
어머니 이거 깨야 되겠다. 이게 손톱으로도 되는데.
So 2 minutes of foraging. We have enough to make a meal.
이거 우리 저기 한방에서도 쓰여. 약재료로도 쓸 정도로 좋은 거야 이게.
Apparently this is supposed to be really good for you in Eastern medicine because it's the first leaves that are coming out in spring that have survived the winter. So apparently these are apple trees, and my grandmother tells me during the winter when they're picking them, they have just loads and loads of them, and she loads them onto her car, and if they're not perfect, they'll just leave them on the ground and the locals are free to just pick them. And my grandmother says she ended up with a couple boxes and she sent it to all her relatives. In my older years, I sort of want to stay in the countryside for a year and learn these cycles and seasons of fruits, because depending on the season, you end up getting a lot of free fruits here and there. Oh, look! Yeah, guys, look. It's spring already, but you can still see a lot of the apples that are just sort of left on the ground. because Koreans will only sell the perfect apples. So if they have any kind of blemishes, even though they're edible, I'll just sort of leave them on the ground. So instead of letting it go to waste, if you live in the countryside, just grab those. Man, I want to make some apple cobbler or something. So apparently this is nengi, also edible. They don't have enough pockets to carry everything, so we're gonna come back tomorrow to get the nengi. It's really fun walking around the countryside with my grandmother because she knows the way of the land. I mean, you can see that there's actually a farmer right there, so it's not like we're doing this in secret or anything. In the countryside, food is aplenty if you know where to look. That's why cost of living is super cheap here. So that ends today's foraging walk. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Hopefully the sun is up. I'm looking forward to more brighter days. And the wind is so cool. This is like Bangkok winter weather right now. I love it. So right next to the apartments, they got a local bakery. Doesn't look like much, but we got a bunch of stuff. It smells so good.
다 놓았었지. 왜냐면 이름 수도 쓰려고.
맞아. 그